Mr. Barce-Duval. Next, we have Mr. Bachrach. Mr. Bachrach, the floor is yours. You have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Minister, and your officials for being with us today. I wanted to start with Bill C-33, and I appreciate that you're grateful for the committee's work. However, our report included 20 recommendations on rail safety. And my read of Bill C-33 is that it doesn't address a single one of those recommendations. Why is that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to my colleague for that question. As you can imagine, the committee issued a report just merely a few weeks before the bill was tabled. So we are currently reviewing many of those recommendations, and we are committed to taking action. Many of the recommendations offer a lot of wisdom and ideas that we are, as I have said earlier, we're committed to reviewing them one by one, and we will take action when necessary. But as I said, the bill had been drafted before the recommendation had come out. That doesn't mean that we couldn't do more work. That doesn't mean that the committee, is always able to review the bill and offer recommendations. But I know that the committee had offered many recommendations, including reviewing the rail police. I know Mr. Bachrach, you really have highlighted this on many occasions to me personally and committee, and we are committed to doing the review. And once the review is completed, whatever recommendations or action is necessary will be taken.
So on that issue, the issue of private corporate rail police in Canada, this has been an issue that you've known about for a long time. I think it was an issue that really became evident to a lot of Canadians with the 2019 rail disaster in British Columbia near Field. I'm curious why, given all of the concerns that we've heard over the years, why there is nothing in this legislation to address this egregious conflict of interest that exists in Section 44 and 44.1 of the Rail Safety Act.
Mr. Bachrach, I take rail safety and all modes of transportation safety extremely seriously. And that's precisely why we need to do our review properly. I think rushing into, while let's acknowledge that this issue needs to be reviewed, but in order for us to finalize or come up with a concrete set of action, we need to do a full review that includes rail companies, that includes unions, that includes stakeholders, that includes parliamentarians. So we want to do it right. And as I said, Transport Canada is committed to completing this review properly and fully.
So Pam Fraser, who lost her son in that disaster, recently appeared at a press conference. This is what she said. Their bodies lay frozen, Dylan in the engine, Daniel in the water, and Andrew outside the engine on the ground, freezing all that night. The people who came the next day to gather these bodies were CP Rail personnel. Why in Canada are we allowing multi-billion-dollar rail corporations to police themselves? Like, how is this, how is the government not dealing with this? Like, there's a review, but this has been an issue for 50 years, for 100 years. How is it possible that we accept such an archaic practice in this country?
Mr. Bachrach, my heart goes out to the family and to Pam and all the loved ones of the ones who were lost. And as I said, Transport Canada is committed to fully reviewing this practice. We are currently consulting, we're collecting evidence, we're examining the rules and what can be done to build upon improving rail safety. So you have, and Pam and her family have my personal commitment that this is work that is ongoing, and we want to make sure we do it right, and we want to make sure that it's done in consultation with the sector, but also with parliamentarians.
When will the review be complete, Minister?
It is something that we're taking extremely seriously, and Transport Canada is committed to finalizing the review by next year.
Okay. The UK has a publicly accountable independent rail police that reports to an independent commission. Why can't Canada have a similarly strong system of oversight for our rail sector? Like, why is it that other countries seem to have figured this out and they don't allow their rail companies to police themselves? Why is Canada different?
Mr. Bachrach, Canada has one of the safest rail network in the world. That does not mean that we don't have challenges. And this is an ongoing work that we always need to push ourselves better. One injury, one loss of life is too many. And we are going to continue to look at what we can do to improve safety, and that's precisely what we're doing, including examining other models around the world.
Is there another transportation sector in our country that has its own police force?
You know, I don't want to answer this question without and give you the wrong answer. Mr. Bachrach, we are taking this matter extremely seriously, and I'm grateful to your work, your personal work, and the work of the members of the committee here, and the advocacy of community members and community organizations. This is a matter that we're committed to reviewing fully, and we are acting on it.
Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you,